Welcome to the deep dive. We take those big pressing issues, really get into the weeds, and pull out the key stuff you need to know.
That's the goal.
And today, we're tackling something pretty major in the automotive world, especially right here in Arizona.
Yeah, the shortage of automotive technicians.
Mhm.
It's serious.
It really is. And actually, this deep dive was partly prompted by a report from Charles Gosman, the co-founder of Jess Recruiting.
Right, they highlighted just how critical this situation is becoming.
Exactly. So our mission today is to, unpack this, what's causing it, how's it hitting auto shops locally, and importantly, what can actually be done.
We've pulled together info from industry reports, news pieces, different analyses to give you that full picture,
Yeah.
especially if you're running a shop here in Arizona.
And the scale. It's kind of surprising, isn't it? Nationally, you've got something like 39,000 new techs graduating each year.
Yeah, around that number. But the openings,
Way higher, like 76,000 needed annually.
that's it. So do the math.
Mm.
You're short about 37,000 technicians every single year.
Wow. And that's just auto techs. The whole transportation sector needs, what, 1 million new people in the next 5 years?
Billion. It's a staggering figure, really shows the demand across the board.
And here in Arizona, it feels even more intense.
It is. Projections show about 14% job growth for auto techs here over the next decade. That's quite a bit higher than the national average.
So the competition for talent is fierce locally.
Definitely. We heard this story from a Phoenix area garage manager.
Hmm.
Used to get 20, maybe 30 applicants in a couple of weeks for a tech job.
Huh?
Now, same job posted 2 months go by. Only 4 or 5 applicants.
Oof, that's a huge drop. So, okay, national shortage, 37,000 gap annually. Arizona facing even faster growth. Let's dig into that more.
Right. That national picture, 39K grads versus 76K openings, that's the core problem.
And the million needed overall, it's
Ooh.
hard to even picture.
It is. And, we did see a small bump in employed techs after the pandemic nationally.
Oh, okay, so some improvement.
A little, but the key thing is demand is still growing faster than supply. That increase didn't really close the gap significantly. The need just keeps climbing.
And back to Arizona. That 14% projected growth really means if you own a shop here, you're feeling that hiring pressure.
You absolutely are. That Phoenix manager anecdote, going from 30 applicants to 5, that's not just numbers, that's a real struggle playing out right now.
Yeah, really paints a picture. Now, Arizona does have a slightly higher average wage for techs, right? Around $22.41 an hour.
It does, yeah, above the national average.
So you'd think that would help attract people.
Well, it's kind of tricky. Yes, it can make Arizona more attractive to techs looking to move or start their careers.
Sure.
But for you, the shop owner, it means higher labor costs. So it helps on one side, maybe, but puts pressure on your profitability on the other.
Right, makes sense. It's not all bad news, though. Arizona is trying things, isn't it? There are initiatives.
Oh, for sure. We've got a really strong presence from Universal Technical Institute, UTI. They graduated almost 4,500 auto techs just last year.
That's a decent number.
Yeah, and community colleges are stepping up too, like Pima Community College. They're expanding their auto tech programs, building new facilities even.
Good to hear.
And the industry itself is getting involved. The Phoenix area Ford dealers, for example, put together a $1 million scholarship fund.
$1 million, wow.
Yeah, specifically to encourage students to go into automotive tech careers. So people are definitely aware and try and build that pipeline.
Okay, so we see the scale of the shortage nationally and here. But why? What are the main drivers behind this lack of technicians?
Well, it's not just one thing. It's a mix of factors stacking up. First off, you've got the aging workforce.
The silver tsunami, I've heard it called?
Exactly. A big chunk of experienced techs are hitting retirement age. Some figures say nearly 9% are retiring each year.
9% annually. That's huge. You're losing all that experience.
Precisely. Decades of know-how walking out the door.
Yeah.
And replacing that isn't easy. You need to be recruiting younger folks now to prepare.
Okay, so aging workforce is one. What else?
Then there's the pipeline issue. Fewer young people are actually choosing this trade.
Why is that?
A big part of it is the decline of vocational programs in high schools. Remember auto shop class?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, since the late 90s, a lot of schools cut those programs. Budgets, focus shifted elsewhere, whatever the reason. That direct path into the trades kind of disappeared for many kids.
Does it a disconnect?
A real disconnect. High schools aren't always highlighting these skilled trades as viable, good-paying careers. And look at the numbers. Graduates from the top 10 U.S. auto training schools dropped by 34% between 2012 and 2021.
34% drop. That's significant.
It really is. It means a whole generation is kind of less aware of these opportunities. We need to bridge that awareness gap.
And I guess there's also the whole societal push towards four-year degrees, right?
Absolutely. There's often this pressure, this idea that a bachelor's degree is the only path to success, which just isn't true. Trades offer great careers. Plus, the image problem. The auto repair industry still fights this old perception of being, dirty or low skill.
Which is totally outdated now with modern cars.
Completely.
Yeah.
But the perception lingers. Get this. 84% of current technicians believe high schoolers actively steer students away from trades.
84%. That's telling.
Isn't it? And then there's the diversity issue. Less than 2% of technicians are women. We're missing out on half the potential workforce right there.
Yeah, huge untapped potential. And you mentioned modern cars. Their complexity must be a factor, too.
Oh, absolutely. Today's vehicles are rolling computers. They're incredibly complex.
Right.
So technicians need really advanced skills now. Diagnostics, software, electronics. It's not just wrenches anymore.
High-tech problem solving.
Exactly. And they need constant training to keep up with things like ADs, those driver assist systems. They need special calibration. And EVs, electric vehicles, that's a whole new ballgame.
So the skill level required is just way higher.
Much higher. And finally, you just have rising demand. More cars on the road than ever. More miles driven, more maintenance needed.
Right. Plus, specialization is growing. So you need techs for general repair, but also specialists for EVs, diagnostics, ADS, etc. Projections say the U.S. needs around 470,000 new techs between now and 2028.
470,000. Wow. Okay, so fewer people coming in, lots retiring, image problems, cars getting way more complex, and demand just keeps going up. That really is a perfect storm.
It is, and it has real consequences for shops and dealerships, especially here in Arizona.
Let's talk about those impacts. What are shops experiencing right now?
The most obvious thing customers see is slower service. Longer waits to get an appointment, longer waits for the actual repair to get done.
It's frustrating for everyone.
Very. There's a stat from last year, 2023. Something like 30% of dealerships couldn't even book new repair work for at least 4 weeks.
4 weeks, just to get in the door.
Yeah, because they just didn't have the technicians. Even basic stuff like oil changes can face delays. And ignoring this, for you, the owner, it hits your bottom line hard. We're talking 6 figures potentially lost annually for each empty tech bay. That definitely gets your attention. And turning away work means lost revenue, obviously.
Directly. If you don't have the techs, you can't do the work. Simple as that. Estimates for dealerships put the lost revenue at over $60,000 per month for each unfilled technician spot.
60 grand a month per tech.
Yep. So if you're short 3 techs, that's potentially $180,000 in revenue just gone every month.
That's huge. That really drives home the financial urgency for owners.
Absolutely. And with fewer techs available overall, the competition to hire them gets really intense.
So bidding wars for talent.
Pretty much. You have to offer higher wages, better benefits, just to attract and keep people, which, again, squeezes your profit margins if you're not careful.
And what about the techs you do have, the ones holding down the fort?
Yeah, that's a critical point. When you're understaffed, your existing team gets overloaded. More work, longer hours. That leads straight to burnout.
Which affects morale, quality.
Exactly. Tired, stressed techs might make mistakes. Service quality can dip. Customer satisfaction goes down. It can damage your reputation, lose you loyal customers. It's a really negative cycle you need to avoid.
Okay, so the impacts are clear and pretty severe. For those Arizona shop owners listening, what can they actually do? What are some strategies to attract new technicians in this market?
All right, let's get practical. First things first, competitive pay and benefits. You absolutely have to be competitive.
Table stakes, basically.
Pretty much. And honestly, in this market, you probably need to aim above the local average to really stand out. Make it financially worthwhile for them to choose your shop.
Makes sense. What else?
Invest in their growth.
Yeah.
Offer training opportunities, clear career paths. Yeah. Things like apprenticeships, mentorship programs.
Show them there's a future there.
Exactly. Support them getting certifications like ASE. Publish those career ladders. Let them see how they can advance within your company. Don't make it a dead-end job.
Okay. Pay, training, career path. What about the shop itself?
Culture is huge. You need a positive, inclusive shop culture. Good communication, respect, teamwork. Make it a place people actually want to come to work.
Yeah, nobody wants a toxic work environment.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And modernize. Invest in decent equipment, updated technology. Good techs want to work with good tools in a clean, organized environment. It shows you're serious.
Right. What about finding people? Connecting with schools?
Crucial. Build relationships with your local technical schools, community colleges. Offer internships. Go to their career fairs. Maybe partner with programs like EVI here in the Valley. Create that pipeline.
Get involved early.
Yep. And lastly, don't overlook specialized recruiters. Services like Jess Recruiting, the ones Charles Gossman co-founded, they live and breathe automotive staffing.
How do they help specifically?
They know the industry, they have networks, they can find candidates you won't find on Indeed, like passive job seekers. Plus, they often have programs like Try Before You Buy.
Try before you buy. How does that work?
It lets you bring someone on temporarily, see how they fit, how they work, before committing to a full hire. Reduces the risk of a bad fit, which is expensive.
Ah, okay. That sounds useful. So attracting new people is key, but keeping the ones you have is just as important, right? Maybe even more so.
Absolutely. Retention is critical for stability and, frankly, profitability. Churn is costly.
So how do Arizona shops improve retention? A lot of the same things.
A lot of overlap, yeah, but with a long-term focus. Competitive wages and benefits are still foundational. If your pay falls behind, people will look elsewhere.
Gotcha.
Keep investing in training. It shows you value them, helps them stay current, and makes them more valuable to you. It's a win-win.
And that positive culture we talked about?
Absolutely vital for retention. Open communication, recognizing good work, making people feel supported and respected. It sounds basic, but it makes a huge difference day to day.
What about work-life balance? That seems increasingly important.
It really is. Where you can, offer flexibility. Maybe explore things like 4-day work weeks if it fits your workflow. Showing you respect their time outside of work goes a long way.
Interesting idea, the 4-day week.
And finally, really value your experience tests. Give them opportunities to mentor newer staff, maybe lead projects. Show them they're valued veterans, not just cogs in the machine. That increases engagement.
So it really comes down to creating an environment where people feel valued, supported, and see a future.
That's the core of it, yeah, for both attracting and keeping good people.
We mentioned schools like UTI and community colleges. Can you expand a bit on how they and partnerships with them are helping address the shortage here in Arizona?
Sure. These institutions are the primary source of new, formally trained technicians for your shops. They provide that essential foundational knowledge.
Right, the basic training.
But it's the partnerships between these schools and local shops or dealerships that really make it work for you. Internships, apprenticeships, these give students that vital, real-world experience.
Hands-on learning.
Exactly. And it gives you, the shop owner, a chance to see potential hires in action, and often leads directly to a job offer for the student. It builds your future workforce.
So shops should be actively involved.
Definitely. Get involved with their advisory boards. Industry professionals helping shape the curriculum ensures it stays relevant to what you actually need in the shop right now and in the future.
Make sure they're teaching the right stuff.
Precisely. And those scholarship programs, like the Ford Dealers one, they lower the financial barrier for students, encouraging more people to even consider the field. It all helps feed the pipeline for your hiring needs. Active engagement is key.
It sounds like a real ecosystem. Okay, let's circle back to those specialized recruiters like Jess Recruiting. You mentioned their focus. How exactly do they help a busy Arizona shop owner who's struggling to find techs?
Well, think about it. You're busy running your shop, dealing with customers, managing inventory. Finding time for effective recruiting is tough.
Yeah, it's a whole separate job.
Right. So services like Jess Recruiting take that burden off your shoulders. They understand automotive staffing inside and out. That's all they do.
So they save you time.
A ton of time and resources. They handle the sourcing, the screening, the initial interviews. They know where to look for techs beyond the usual job board.
Finding those passive candidates you mentioned.
Exactly. People who are maybe employed but open to a better opportunity if it comes along. Recruiters build relationships with these folks.
Okay.
And that Try Before You Buy program we talked about, that's a huge risk reducer for you. Hired mistakes are costly, lost time, lost money, potential disruption. This lets you test the waters.
Reduces the gamble.
Big time. Plus, they often have access to real-time wage data, so they can advise you on setting truly competitive compensation packages based on current market conditions right here in Arizona.
Helps you make the right offer.
Yep. And sometimes they offer more, like help with fleet staffing if you have that need, or access to resources like ATWA for wage analysis, or even new tech tools like MechMind AI. That's often a broader workforce solution. And having that local Arizona presence means they get the nuances here.
Sounds like a potentially powerful tool in the toolbox for owners. Okay, so for that shop owner listening right now, feeling overwhelmed by this, What are the immediate actionable steps they should take, like today or this week?
Okay, let's make it concrete. Step 1, take stock. Really assess your current staffing. What are your actual needs? What's your turnover rate? Why are people leaving? If they are,
Get honest about the situation.
exactly.
Yeah.
Step 2, analyze your pay and benefits. Are they truly competitive in today's Arizona market? Use resources like ATWA or talk to recruiters to get current data. Don't guess.
Benchmark yourself.
Yep. Step 3, evaluate your shop culture and environment. Ask your current team for honest feedback. What's working? What's not? What could make it a better place to work?
Listen to your people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Step 4, reach out to local schools.
Yeah.
Explore setting up an internship. Maybe just offer job shadowing. Start building those bridges.
Plant those seeds.
Right. Step 5, look at your job postings. Are they boring? Do they actually sell the job? Highlight the competitive pay, the benefits, the training, the growth opportunities. Make it appealing.
Make it stand out.
Definitely. And step 6, research and contact a specialized automotive recruitment service, like Jess Recruiting. Give them a call. See what they offer.
What's the contact info again?
You can reach Jess Recruiting at 602-730-0052 or email them, talent@jessrecruiting.com. Their website is jessrecruiting.com. Just having a conversation could open up new avenues.
Okay, those are very clear, tangible steps someone can take right away.
Yeah, start somewhere. Don't just feel stuck.
Well, this has been incredibly informative, a real deep dive into what's clearly a complex and, frankly, critical issue for the auto industry, especially for you owners here in Arizona.
It is a big challenge, no doubt about it. But I really want to stress, it's also an opportunity for shops that are willing to be proactive and strategic.
How so?
Shops that tackle this head-on, that really invest in attracting and keeping talent, they're the ones who are going to thrive. They'll build a reputation not just for good service, but as a great place to work. That's a competitive advantage.
So the main takeaway for everyone listening, particularly those running shops in Arizona, there's no single magic bullet. It's about a combined approach.
Exactly. You need to focus on both sides of the coin. Attracting new talent and doing everything you can to retain the great people you already have.
Which means competitive pay and benefits, yes, but also investing in training, building that positive culture, and forming those strategic partnerships with schools and maybe recruiters.
That's the formula. It takes effort across all those areas.
Right. And maybe a final thought to leave our listeners with.
Yeah, maybe think about this. How could really leaning into solving this technician shortage transform your business? Beyond just filling empty bays, how could it position you as a leader in service quality, employee satisfaction, overall reputation for the long haul? What's one step you'll take today to start moving in that direction?